Oh, keeping it real sports. I'm the real sports guy. I'm Steve Taylor. He's the said man. Andy Sands out. The Super Bowl's over with, and we win, Andy. Champions.
We win.
Yes.
Champions. Our hats are coming next week, Steve. We're going to have them. Well, hopefully, maybe we'll have them for next week's show. Who knows? But what an exciting football game, and congratulations, my brother. Super Bowl number 2. You get 2 before I even get to one, but I'm still happy for you. And I don't have to hear it from Cincinnati.
The rings and things that we sing about.
That's right. That's right. So
my LA Rams can bring them out. We're going to break that all down tonight.
Yes.
Man, we've got a Super Bowl wrap-up show that we got planned for you. We've got the BDI Top 10. And we also have what we always start with, quick hitters. We'll end up with sound off as usual. But let's get right into our normal, man. Let's get into the quick hitters. Quick hitters.
All right, my friend. Well, you know, I love my city, and it's exciting to see that the All-Star Game is back in the city of Cleveland this year as they hosted the Celebrity All-Star Game as well as the Rising Stars Game last night. And then tonight you've got the three-point contest, the slam dunk contest, and all the other skills contests for the All-Star Game. And it's exciting to have the All-Star Game when you have a good basketball team, which a lot of fans were not expecting this year.
I'm expecting it.
But these are two of the reasons why. Darius Garland, and earlier this week, Jared Allen gets named as a substitute for James Harden because he's injured, so to speak, and will not play in the All-Star Game. Well deserved. Good job, Adam Silver. He should have been there in the first place.
Well, I mean, I understand the homerism, but, you know, I mean, James Harden is James Harden. You know, the beard is the beard, you know, and you got to give him that, man. And since we're at the halfway point of the season, man, I see no better time than we start to take our first look at MVPs. And when you talk about MVP candidates, it comes down to just two, Andy. Those two. Embiid and Giannis. I'm going to ask you right now, who you got?
Honestly, I think it's got to be Joel Embiid if you're asking me to pick right now. What he's done in Philadelphia this year is just remarkable. Giannis is Giannis, Steve. He's won 2 MVPs already. I expect that from him. I did not expect Embiid to get to this level. And with all the drama, even before the James Harden trade, with the Ben Simmons stuff in the offseason and coming into the season, he has single-handedly carried this team to the status it has in the Eastern Conference right now. So for me, I think it's Joel Embiid.
Well, you know what? To beat a man, you got to beat the man. You know, and he did last night, so I got to give Embiid credit for that. But you know, the rings and things that they sing about, Giannis Antetokounmpo, he can bring them out. And I tell you, but that's going to be an interesting watch, man. We'll keep close eye on that as the season progresses. But at the halfway point, I'd have to agree with you, man. Joel Embiid is the man right now.
You just agreed with me. I don't know how to react to that. Well, speaking of rings, Steve, we're going to go into a different type of ring, and it's tomorrow. It's later today.
Uh-huh.
It's in Saudi Arabia, and it's the Elimination Chamber, baby. It's the second pay-per-view of the year in WWE, and oh boy, is it going to be a dandy. Look at that matchup on the left. 2 icons of the sport. Roman Reigns retained his championship against Seth Rollins at day 1. And he's going to take on one of the greatest of all time, and Bill Goldberg. And then one of the most crucial and grueling, I should say, events is the Elimination Chamber. Starts with 2 men, and then each one every 5 minutes comes in out of the chamber.
Yeah, I know how it goes. It ain't pretty.
In a cage. Oh, man, it's going to be so good. So I'm excited to see that later today. On my wife's birthday, may I add. Happy birthday, sweetheart.
Happy birthday, Patty. Happy birthday. Absolutely. Well, I tell you, man, you know, when I look at it, you know, in 79, 80 plus years of the National Hockey League, man, they have never had an all-black broadcasting crew. Well, in one season, the Kraken, the Seattle Kraken come in, and I hats off to the Kraken for putting together that. But J.T. Brown and my boy Fitzhugh, Everett Fitzhugh, the very first all-black NHL announcing team. I'm telling you, man, my hat's off to the Seattle Kraken. Andy, give me your thoughts.
I think is an excellent hire. JT Brown, ironically, Steve came from Cincinnati. He was the voice of the Cincinnati Cyclones in the ECHL, and went and took a giant leap. It's very rare, regardless of your ethnicity or anything. It's very rare to have the talent to go from the minors all the way up to the NHL. I would know because I was there, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to get there. But for him to be able to make that accomplishment, it speaks volumes to his talent alone. And to have him on that broadcast, that's a special night for African Americans as well as NHL fans. And he's really good, Steve. He beat out one of my best friends who's been in that area for the last 10 years. He was the voice of the Everett Silvertips in the WHL and had a lot of connections in the NHL. And JT Brown still got that job. Now, my buddy is the radio host out there, so congratulations to him for that accomplishment as well. But JT Brown, well-deserved, and hats off to the NHL for putting that together. That was something special.
Absolutely. My hats off to the Seattle Kraken. Andy, that brings us to our BDI College Hoops Top 10. Man, give me your thoughts on this week's 10. Just your thoughts.
Well, I was glad to see Texas Tech got in there because I was going to lobby for them with you one way or the other. So I'm glad that we put them in there this week. They're playing really good basketball, Steve. They're a dangerous team, and they've taken out some dangerous teams in the process to earn that ranking. Baylor twice. That, to me, right there sets the standard, and they might be the team to beat in that conference now.
Being that Baylor has had some back-breaking injuries. You're right. Texas Tech is on the ride. Number one, of course, we've got Gonzaga. Andy, we told you. We tried to tell you weeks ago this thing was coming. Man, Yep. This thing is a snowball coming downhill now. Chet Holmgren is coming into his own along with Timmy and the supporting cast. My goodness, man. Auburn, we talked about those guys, but Andy, the one thing that we got to watch out with Auburn is his inability to be able to hit shots from the outside. There are a lot of slashers and they can create a lot of havoc, but at some point in the NCAA tournament, you got to be able to hit jump shots.
Yeah, and we hinted on that a little bit last week. That was the one concern we have as far as, when the brackets come out, potentially putting them all the way into the Final Four or potentially even the championship game. But, Steve, they're not going anywhere. Bruce Pearl got basically a lifelong contract.
Yeah.
And that's only going to help their recruiting moving forward.
Yeah. Yep. We got Arizona, the Wildcats, man, streaking right now. We got them number 3. Number 4, the Kentucky Wildcats. The Dukies, number 5, man, they're just steady Eddie. Coach K and company. Purdue, we got them at number 6. Kansas, man, we like how they're trending, the big fellas. At number 7, number 8, we got Providence. Number 9, Villanova. And did you get a chance to see that Villanova Providence game the other day?
Yeah, they got them, didn't they? I mean, they're
heavyweight championship fight.
Steve. Jay Wright, that's all you got to say about Villanova.
Absolutely.
Jay Wright,
absolutely.
He's got 2 of them already. Yep. Could be on his way to a 3rd if they keep playing like that.
The rings and things that they sing about. And then Texas Tech, as you alluded to, getting into our top 10, man. And
yes.
and that rounds out our top 10.
Yeah, and I think we're always going to have probably at least 2 teams from the Big 12 in this top 10 as the season goes on because they're that deep. I think the Big 12 and the Big 10 are the 2 best conferences in college basketball. That's right. I said it. I'll stand by it. I understand the Pac-12 is very good as well, but to me, those are the best 2.
You can miss me with that. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Okay.
You're right.
Good. I'm glad to hear you say that. But speaking of rings and things, Steve, the Rams did win the Super Bowl last week.
Did you notice the jersey that I'm wearing tonight?
Did
you notice this jersey? Did you notice that?
But before we get into that particular part of the Super Bowl, I think we have a little special video for our fans to remind them how it was done.
Yeah, I guess we can do that. Let's do that. Hey, this is Super Bowl Sunday. This is from the eyes of a Ram fan. Here's a unique look at the Super Bowl from a Rams perspective. You'll get to see the brains of the operation and you'll get to see the enforcer and how the Rams put it all together for a Super Bowl run. Keeping It Real Sports starts right now.
What you're not going to regret is waking up right now, playing our best ball, good execution. There's 9:58 left. Our defense is playing great. They're going to get a stop. Be in the moment, one play at a time. Believe it, and you'll be world champs. Believe it. Let's find it right here in our gut. Go get this done. Let's go. All right, I believe it.
And if you're going to believe in anything, believe in the enforcer. He ain't enough? How about Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and the Hollywood Rams?
He high points the football and has the 6. Touchdown, LA! Next back, throws the fade, back shoulder. Cooper Kupp got it! Cooper Kupp brings it in! Touchdown! He's hit, he's sacked, he throws it away. Rings for the Rams. A Lombardi trophy for Los Angeles. 23-20 is the final.
All done. World champs. How about that one, Andy?
Oh man, goosebumps, partner. Great job on the production on that one. You know, I think it's only fitting that one of the images you ended that video with was Andrew Whitworth holding up his kid. You know, he's 40 years old. He started his career with the Bengals. Let's not forget that. And he stuck with it. And he was beatered and battered and banged up and had so many surgeries on his knees. And it just goes to show you that good things come to those who wait and good things come to those who work their ass off. And I was really excited for him to get that ring. And all the naysayers about this guy, Steve, right here. This guy was special. First quarterback to throw 2 touchdowns in a Super Bowl and not win MVP. But deservedly so, it went to the right guy, and that guy was this guy right here, Cooper Kupp, with that catch. I think I want to throw a little bit of a dig.
Well, would you please throw that up for me? Please put that up for me. See. What did he say? What did he say? Can you read that quote for me? Read that quote.
Sure. Cooper Kupp who? You know why they call it the Big Apple? Because I'm covering that shit, fam. Kupp ain't got shit on me. Guess what? He got a Super Bowl over your ass. That's what he got, Eli. Next time you'll learn. Shut the hell up.
All I know is Coop caught 2 touchdowns and they was both on his ass. That's all I know.
That's right. And Steve, I think it was.
Didn't we try to warn that guy, man? Didn't we try to warn him?
I mean, we did. But, you know, like you said last week, not all Buckeyes are smart, right? You know, what are you going to do? But I think we got a little bit of a sports guy breakdown on that play that set up that game-winning touchdown.
I mean, everybody's talking about the big defensive stand at the end, you know, and well be it, you know, Aaron Donald, you know, I mean, let's look at that third down. It's 3rd and 1, Andy. It's 3rd and 1. And he takes and stands up to tackle and pushes him into the A gap. And then he reaches around and grabs that guy. Reaches around and grabs P. Ryan by the waist and stops him in his tracks for no gain to bring up the 4th down to where he does the chop club and come around the edge and bends the edge, you know, and comes around and ends the game. I mean, everybody needs a closer. And this is why I stood up on tables and said all along, man, and there's no disrespect to guys like Gary. It's no disrespect to guys like TJ Watt. But dude, when you talk about closing the game, this dude does it time and time and time again, man. There's no guesswork, man. I'm not telling you, man, what I'm thinking. I'm not being emotional. I'm just telling you, man, facts. And in fact, that dude right there is a closer.
And the fact of the matter is, we talked about it in our Super Bowl show last week. We talked about it in our show prior to that. This right here was the difference in the game, Steve. We said that this was going to be the one key matchup to watch for. That ended up being the case. And these guys could not handle Aaron Donald when they had to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But the big play of the game to me, Andy, was the ability of the Matthew Stafford, the guy that you talked about, that you said, the monkey should be off of his back. But the breakdown of not the touchdown pass, but I'm talking about the dig route. And he throws a 22-yard dig route coming up. And I want to get in and break down and how he manipulates the safety with his eyes and really affects Von Bell. Let's get into this and take a look at it.
Let's do that, because you got a great view of this for the fans at home. This is basically what the safety would be looking at if you were on the field looking at the offensive line for the Rams and looking at Matthew Stafford as he tries to move around the secondary to get the throw that he's looking for.
Okay, so at the snap of the ball, you see Matthew Stafford is looking right, and that's what he's trained to do. He's trained to look right. Now, Von Bell understands that, and you see him stand put, and you see him looking to his right as well. Now, as we start to play and we look at it, as it unfolds, Matthew's looking him off right. Now, you see Matthew's head is going to snap back to the left, and it's going to affect Von Bell. And I want you to watch what Von Bell does. Von Bell in his stop, he stops right there. Now, he's reacting to what his film study told him and what has happened earlier in the game, which is the drop down route to the tight end. So Von Bell, just by the eyes of Matthew Stafford, is starting to jump this route. So just watch how Von Bell is affected. As Matthew Stafford steps up, he's looking. He even starts to the throwing motion, and he's continuing to look left. I mean, Andy, look at the quarterback's eyes.
But yeah, I mean, anybody looking at that on the naked eye, Steve, thinks he's going to throw the ball in that direction.
And what he does is he throws a no-look pass. There's your old crap moment where Von Bell understands, I should have stayed in the window that I was in. By him jumping that route, he opened up a window for Cooper Kupp to climb into from the dig route 22 yards down the field. He opens it up. I mean, that's just great. Great manipulation with the eyes. I mean, Andy, it don't get any better than that. It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, I would agree, Steve. And I didn't understand the volume of criticism on Matthew Stafford coming into that game because I know he had thrown some picks, in a couple of the games in the fourth quarter, but damn it, he led a 15-play drive to win the Super Bowl, Steve. It doesn't get any more clutch than that.
Andy, the man led a comeback victory in the division championship series round that sent Tom Brady packing in 42 seconds with a clutch throw to Cooper Kupp. He ends the National Football Conference championship game comeback in the fourth quarter with a touchdown pass to who?
Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, okay. And then he leads a comeback in the Super Bowl to throw a touchdown pass to who?
Cooper Kupp.
Yeah. Cooper flipping Kupp.
And this was his best one of all, Steve, because he knew that if he threw that to the back shoulder, there was no way that Apple had a chance to make a play on the ball.
No, Andy, it's deeper than that because Cooper never lines up outside. He told him, if you look at it, I've watched the NFL Films version where they're mic'd up. He tells Matthew Stafford, tell Cooper to move out wide. So he moves Cooper out of the slot, out wide, and Cooper Kupp runs the route that Odell Beckham would have ran had he been in the game.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying, Steve, that this may not have been that close of a game if Beckham doesn't get hurt. I tend to agree with that.
You being nice. No, I said it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Not a lot of people. I said it.
Well, the eyes tell the story, right? I mean, they were dominating their defense when Beckham was in the game. He had already racked up 30-some yards in the first quarter and was on his way to MVP. He was going to win MVP, Steve. If he stayed healthy in that game, it was not going to be Cooper Kupp. It was going to be Odell Beckham. And boy, what a story that would have been. But I have to be a little bit concerned as a Rams fan for you, because I'm still a Browns fan. I was just a Rams fan for one game.
Okay.
I'll wear the hat proudly when we get it. But
okay.
His history of injuries, here we go again. And it's the second non-contact tear of his ACL that he's had. That has to scare you a little bit moving in towards the end of his career.
Look, Odell Beckham has landed in the perfect situation. They don't need him to rush back. Bobby Trees will be back.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Tutu
You won the Super
Atwell
Bowl
will be
without your
back.
second best receiver.
Tutu Atwell will be third best receiver too because Tyler Eleanor Higbee was out. Man,
And this guy's coming back officially today. His
man.
fiance said there's no retirement yet. He's ready to go get another one.
Man, and you talk about the brains of the operation. Andy, there were times where I really questioned. I mean, and not the play caller in the Super Bowl when he's running the football, because I understood what they were doing. They were telling the Cincinnati Bengals, "Hey, you better be careful because, man, we'll pop one." And they knew it. So they had to respect it. I understand that. But I was in the same mindset as you, and I have to give you credit because you text me in the Super Bowl, and I don't return texts when the Rams are playing football.
Except if it's me.
And even then, I probably won't return the text until maybe at halftime if you're lucky. If you're lucky. But you called out Brandon Powell, and that BP would have been a great. What I would have done at halftime is I would have gone in and I would have implemented BP kind of like Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was thinking too, because then Cooper Kupp becomes more of a primary, not just a slot guy, and that opens up the middle of the field for Powell.
And it's funny because I listened to the mic'd up version after the thing started closing in on Matthew Stafford. Brandon Powell comes up to Matthew Stafford and said, "Look, man, put me in, man. I'll play for you, Matt. I'll play for you."
Yeah.
And Matt looks at him and says, "Man, God bless him, man. That's BP, man. That's just BP, man."
Yeah, I mean, that's why this team won, Steve, because even though they were the Hollywood Rams, right? They didn't play like it. They played like a football team as a cohesive unit and as a family, and that's all because this guy right here is a damn good football coach, and I'm tired of people criticizing him. And now that he's gotten it done, that criticism needs to go to bed.
It's the culture, man. It's the Ram culture. What I want you to do when you look at this and you see these NFL films that shows the Super Bowl, I want you to listen to how many times those guys say, "Hey, I love you, man. I love you." And just throughout the team, throughout the entire team. I mean, that's unheard of, man. You don't hear of that.
Not in the NFL.
Unheard of.
You might hear it in college. You might hear it in some other sports, but not in the NFL.
It's Ramley, man. It's the Ramley. It's the Ramley. And if you're not part of it, you don't get it, man.
That's
you don't
right.
get it.
And the other thing is, Steve, it was worth it. All those picks don't even matter anymore because you got the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but people don't understand. What we did was traded picks for proven commodities.
Yes.
We did, man, picks. Yeah, we hope that this guy pans out, and I hope that he's going to be okay. Give me a proven commodity.
And honestly, that's what the Browns need to do to get to that next level, Steve. I've been waiting for them. I've been waiting for Barry to do it. This is the draft they can do it, I think. I think they can look at the Rams and model themselves after the Rams. very
Yeah.
similarly.
Yeah.
I really believe that. I think that Odell leaving taught them, oh shit, we got to fix our culture.
How do you think Johnny Johnson and Troy Hill feel right about now?
Ooh, yeah, that one's got to hurt them quite a bit. Well, we're getting towards the end of a great show here, partner. And that only means one thing left to do, and that's sound off. And I think this week you should start it because yours ties into how the NFL season has come to a completion. So I'm going to ask you if you will start the sound off this week.
Well, absolutely. Here's the thing, man. NFL, we talked about the first class action lawsuit that Brian Flores has filed against the NFL and the brand. And we saw that Lovie Smith was hired last week as a scapegoat. We touched on that and ticked me off. Well, the NFL has kind of made a boss move. And Andy, I'm not quite sure if I should be pissed at the boss move or look at him like, but when you play with the NFL, and you throw up that NFL graphic for me real quick, when you play with the NFL, you play with the bull, you get the horn. So the NFL is facing the first class action lawsuit, filing racial discrimination. So who do they hire as their lead attorney, Andy? This woman right here. I'm telling you, Attorney General. She's the first black Attorney General, okay, Laura Lynch. So they won up Brian Flores. And I'm going to leave you with this and ask you one simple question. Do you really think Brian Flores is going to win? And that's my sound off.
Perfect segue. I mean, you had to take it right out of the Super Bowl talk, Steve, because this is now going to be the story in the NFL outside of, the draft. And we'll get into that in the next couple of weeks and our thoughts on the draft as well, because it's still a long ways away. But, we like to break that down. But you got to give the NFL credit. That was a hell of a hire. And I think Brian Flores.
Boss move.
Oh, shit. So, yeah. All right. Speaking of officials and speaking of decisions, the Olympics will end at the end of this week, my friend. Not that anybody really has been watching them, because I don't think they have, because nobody can even attend the Olympics outside of the athletes and some family members that were allowed to travel. Okay. So we talked a couple weeks ago when this thing started, shouldn't be happening. Come to find out, there's a very large political reason behind it, but I don't want to get into that because this is a sports show. What I will get into is the hypocrisy of the Olympic Committee. Okay. Now, you've known me for 20 years, and I will stand for what I believe in. Okay. Tara Lipinski and Johnny Weir hit the nail on the head. Not fair. And Valieva should not have been on the ice over the last 2 days. Period. End of story. Doesn't matter how old she is. She's in the Olympics. She has to play by the rules. She did not do that. You know who else didn't do that? Sha'Carri Richardson. Last summer in the Tokyo Games. Who did she represent? The United States of America. Who did Valieva represent? The Russian Olympic Committee. Interesting. Both of them cheat, yet one of them is allowed to compete. I want you to look at this image, and I want you to remember this image, folks, because this is exactly what is wrong with the World Olympic Committee. Okay? This young woman is scarred for her life because she was on that ice last night and fell not once, not twice, but 3 times. Embarrassed herself, embarrassed her coaches, and embarrassed her country and her nation. And afterwards was scarred for it because she got nothing but criticized by her own entourage that made her cheat in the first place. Now you tell me how that makes any sense at all. This has to stop. The Olympics will lose all credibility for this event alone, and they will lose fans, and they will lose money, and they should lose everything, because this is the biggest mistake that the Olympic Committee and their decision makers have ever made in the history of those sports.
Well, great sound off. But on a brighter note, how about the sister who couldn't skate in 2016 decided she wanted to skate, learned how to skate, and now she's the fastest skater in the world. Yeah, it is.
Very special.
It is.
And Elena Myers-Taylor won silver in the brand new event, the monobob, which by the way is Patty's new favorite Olympic event.
Yeah, hell, it's mine too, just because of the way it sounds,
it's so
Patty.
entertaining.
I
It
don't,
really is.
damn the entertainment. I like how it sounds, Patty. I like how it sounds.
Oh,
What's the name of it
monobob.
again? What?
Monobob.
I'm down with it. I'm down with it.
Okay,
I'm down
there
with
you
it.
go. But, listen, she could retire, and I think she probably will at the end of these games. But, what a great story in that sport, because a Canadian Olympian 4 years ago that won gold came and represented the United States because her coaches were abusing her, and she wins gold and throws it in their face.
Yeah.
And that, my friend, is how you pay back somebody that abuses and bullies you.
Oh, that's our music, man. There you go. And that tells us another job well done. Andy Sandman Sanzada. For the Sandman, I'm the real sports guy, Steve Taylor. Until next week, Sandman.
We wish you love.
And peace. Deuces.